They still.
Yep. This is breaking in news. Roll notice millions of voters just kicked Tim Walz out of Minnesota. If this is true, we're gonna be having a hell of a lot of good time, but let's face it, a lot of this shit right here is funny, but hey, something gotta be done, so enjoy.
Outside Tim Walz's house. Them voters, them taxpayers is hotter than fish grease.
Retard! 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 Samoan! Thief! Retard! 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 Keep on Jimmy! Retard! 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 Take it out the trash! Want to really see something just said? Take a look what happened. We will make America proud again. You try to. We will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
I think the bastard ought to be walked out with his hands behind his god doggone back. You just can't make this up. What's going on, family? Happy Sunday. Happy y'all having a great weekend. We ending the year off on a great note. You know, just can't make this up, man. But it gets worse and worse and worse for these politicians, these Democrats, the state of Minnesota. I'm telling you, I mean, people are hotter than fish grease. The taxpayers are hotter than fish grease. And I think every taxpayer in this country should be hotter than fish grease. That's my opinion. The hell with the system. The hell with the corrupt scam matrix. Y'all my people. And I believe my people have been spit on, left in the dark, ripped off, robbed in broad daylight. My people. Them hard-working patriots. I've had enough, man. So I'm going to call it out for what it is. If you don't like how I speak on there, if you don't like what I say, love you, goodbye. It was nice knowing you. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. We sick of all this crap, man. And I think a bastard ought to be walked out with their hands behind their back. A lot of people. It's a disgrace, man. Look what they're saying. Look what they're saying on the ground. Instead of hearing 100 mayors, let's start seeing arrest. Trace the money and see how many millions went in Walz and Omar's pockets. Arrest these criminals. The state is one large money laundering operation. No wonder they were trying so hard against Trump. The land of 10,000 frauds. Walz need to be in state prison. Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar both should spend the next 20 years in prison, all their millions confiscated. We dodged a bullet with Walz. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah, he was just on the ballot this past election. Oh, man. And y'all know what's crazy, y'all? I was scrolling on the thing last night, and Captain Phillips came up. And as soon as I see that, I thought about the Somalis in Minnesota, and I watched it. I watched it again. I love Captain Phillips, man. You know, come to find out, the movie, there was like a lawsuit a couple of years ago because Captain Phillips, they portrayed him as like a hero, but really he was warned. Months going into, it was a lot that went into that, but The movie didn't show the actual reality, but it still was a phenomenal movie, you know. But Captain Phillips, man, I said, man, look at them Somalis, them pirates. Unbelievable. Yeah, so I watched it again. I think I watched Captain Phillips, probably my 15th time now. I might watch it again, too. I love rewatching movies, man. Especially if it's a good movie, I love rewatching movies. It's a must. But let's get into this, man. You just can't make this up.
Nearly 100 Minnesota mayors are sounding the alarm over alleged fraud in their state, writing in a letter to Governor Tim Walz. Quote, fraud, unchecked spending, and inconsistent fiscal management in St. Paul have trickled down to our cities, reducing our capacity to plan responsibly, maintain infrastructure, hire and retain employees, and sustain core services without overburdening local taxpayers. Now, the letter comes as feds say fraud could top $9 billion in the state, funds that were meant to go to a number of causes. Help feed children, help people recovering from addiction to find a place to live, help disabled adults live independently, and one-on-one therapy for autistic children. And yet, they allegedly ended up going to things like this: wire transfers to China and East Africa, luxury homes, vacations and vehicles, stacks of cash, and jewelry. Joining me now, two of the mayors who signed that letter raising concerns over this alleged fraud: Stewartville Mayor Jimmy John King and Lexington Mayor Mike Murphy. Thank you for being here, gentlemen. Mayor King, let me just start with you. Why did you feel the need to sign on to this letter, and what do you hope it will accomplish?
Well, the need to sign on to this letter is finally coming to light. This has been going on since 2018, 2019. And our budgets have been growing down here like anywhere else, but our state health seems to be shrinking. Now we find out why it's all disappearing. Now we're hoping it'll bring some light, help bring more light to this massive fraud that is going on in our state that affects all of us just by increased real estate property taxes.
You know, Mayor Murphy, I guess you probably feel the same as to why you signed this letter. What has been the reaction to this letter? Have you heard from Governor Walz? Has he invited you to participate in dialogue, to perhaps have a face-to-face visit?
No, unfortunately, Tim Walz hasn't reached out to us at all, and I don't anticipate him doing so, because that just means it's just another level of accountability for Tim Walz. And, there's a little nickname for him going around Minnesota. He's the fraud father, and that's exactly
the fraud
what it
father.
is. And I'm not trying to make this sound partisan at all, Griff, but at the end of the day, if you look at Democrat-ran cities, this is exactly the policies that they support, and this is the reason why cities like mine and Jimmy's here are suffering because of these unfunded mandates. And at the end of the day, Griff, we're the ones fixing the roads, and we're the ones picking up the phone when you call 911, and we're offering essential services to our communities. And these unfunded mandates, this fraud, and the shrinking government assistance to the cities, it's killing us. It's killing our taxpayers.
You know, Mayor Murphy, it's also killing the economic reputation and standing of your state. We did a little research here. We want to show you how much Minnesota is slipping in national economic rankings. You see GDP growth 18th, 2007 to 2019, to 33rd, 2019 to 2024. Job growth 20th to 39th. Labor force growth 22nd to 40th. Per capita income growth 25th to 33rd. And the list goes on and on. Let me ask you, Mayor King, is that acceptable? And do you lay this at the feet of Governor Walz?
Of course, this has got to be laid at the feet of the people that are in charge of this state. It's like they got together with Illinois and see who could race to the bottom fastest. Illinois was heading there quicker than us, but it's like Minnesota said, hold our beer and watch what we can do. That's the feeling I get on this, like it's a race to the bottom.
Yeah,
I don't like.
You know, here's a question for either of you, and I'll start with you, Mayor Murphy, if you know, but we are, nationwide, we are astonished to hear that the fraud could top $9 billion. But you are close to the numbers. You see this in your state up close and personal. Do you suspect that the number could actually be larger once that there is an actual auditing or a pulling back of the curtain on what actually happened?
Well, yeah, I do. I think that number is going to grow as the feds and the special task force President Trump sent to Minnesota is going to start uncovering the fraud that has been going on in the state for years. Back in 2022, I ran for governor in Minnesota for the Republican endorsement because during the COVID lockdowns, we were sick and tired. I personally was sick and tired of Tim Walz' tyrannical government mandates, and I wanted to go do something about it. And fraud was a big issue back then, but now it's 10 times worse. And the problem is, us as small cities, the things that we face is, like my city, for example, needs water infrastructure. The city my size is around 4,000 people, but it's nearly impossible to try to fund a $10 million water plant with a 4,000 person city. So we're forced to buy from our neighboring communities. But if there wasn't so much fraud, waste, and abuse, Minnesota Griff, there would be money available for us to build that water treatment facility for our residents. That's the point that us mayors are trying to make, is there's so much waste in the state that there's nothing left for the people that matter, which is us.
Wow, and that obviously
You know?
isn't sitting well with your residents. Mayor King, let me ask
No.
you, have you heard from your constituents, your residents, about this, and how do they feel?
We hear about it down here at City Hall constantly, because when we have to balance our budget and have our truth in taxation, we've got to come up with reasons why, and we all know now part of the reason why is the fraud and corruption that's going on. I mean, this next program they're coming out with after the first year is so right and set up for fraud. This personal private family medical leave plan. I mean, I don't think you guys have seen anything yet. I believe the next move they'll make is they'll put a line item in the state budget for fraud, so the auditor has an easier time figuring out where all the money went. I
Wow.
can see that coming.
Well, it is absolutely astonishing. We've got to leave it there. It'll be interesting to see what Governor Walz has to say, and it's shocking to hear from both of you that there's been no response, that he doesn't even want to dialogue, let alone meet to discuss.
Boy, you just can't make it up, man. But we definitely wanted to get into this that is breaking all over the internet. One of the biggest markets there is in the betting market, breaking 60 or 70% chance Tim Walz is charged with a federal crime. Look at that. And then you have, Mark Kelly, James Clapper, Letitia James, Poland High, that big greasy meatball heifer. They should have put that heifer in handcuffs a long time ago, man. It's a lot of people that need to be held accountable, man. But Tim Walz is polling one of the highest at 70% now. What a disgrace, man. We showed you in yesterday's show of Elon Musk saying this. He broke the internet, saying Tim Walz is a crook and Tim Walz should be prosecuted. It's a disgrace. And look at his response. Look.
Insurance program for you that allows you again to take care of what you need to take care of without being forced to choose between your family, your bonding with your child, your own health, and your economic well-being. Because in Minnesota, you can do both, and we proved that time.
In Minnesota, you can do both, is what Tim Walz said. I tell you. And here he is once again, look.
So, this is what happens when your own federal government wages war against you. This is what happens when they target communities for their own benefit. This is what happens when they scapegoat. And this is what happens when they no longer hide the idea of white supremacy, when you hear the Vice President of the United States talk about now white people won't have to apologize for being white. That's never happened once in my whole damn life. And I think everybody in this room knows what they're doing. So we're here today to say enough of this. We're here today to stand that Minnesota will protect their neighbors.
White supremacy, y'all. Tim Walz blaming white supremacy for the White House, inquiring about the Somalian fraud in Minnesota. Prosecute Tim Walz. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. And rest in peace to Miss Hartman. Remember, Melissa Hartman was Minnesota Speaker of the House who voted to end welfare for non-citizens, and 5 days later, she and her husband were murdered by Tim Walz orgy. I remember that, And then in the letter, he said that Tim Walz also wanted Miss Amy Klobuchar to be unalived as well. Or I mean, it was just that whole scandal there, man. I tell you, it's a lot of things in Minnesota that should be the number one story in this country, in this world, you know. But Miss Hortman knew about the multi-billion-dollar welfare scam, and she tried to stop it. Now she is dead.
That vote, and we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
Rest in peace to that beautiful lady right there, man. Rest in peace. I send my love and condolences to her family. But we have a young journalist who is breaking in the spotlight right now, who's doing a phenomenal job. And we might be having a video coming on him because that is another video coming on him because that is Tim Walz's and many others' worst nightmare. You know, hey, the mainstream media failed to do a lot of these things, man, and still refuse to jump on board from what it looks like. But we have a young journalist who's there with a video camera, a microphone, and cracking down on all this fraud in broad daylight. I mean, man, you just can't make it up. He says, a bit about me. I'm a 23-year-old, 100% independent. I have posted a full YouTube video every week for the past 104 weeks. Helped expose the border crisis. First American to ever film inside the CECOT. Briefed President Trump in the White House about Antifa. Ended Tim Walz's career. Shout out to Nick Shirley, man. But I think they should have put this bastard in handcuffs when he did this right here a while back.
All right, ready. Whoa, wait a minute.
This clown, man. They should have been put him in handcuffs right there.
There, that's better. All right, ready.
There, that's better. You just can't make it up, man. You just can't, you know?
Barack Obama's legacy, Obamacare. Congress's watchdog, the GAO, found massive systemic fraud in Obamacare. $21 billion potentially in fraud in just 2023 alone. 58,000 dead people got $94 million, but Obamacare was why Democrats shut down the government last month for 43 days. They want $400 billion more in subsidies. The Senate votes next week on a Democrat plan to try to get that spending. Luke Lucier from Senate Budget, Kansas Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, you've been all over Obamacare fraud. How can Democrats demand and justify more money and spending? And let's go through what the GAO found. 97,000 double dipped and got at least double or triple the coverage. Obamacare gave out coverage without requesting documents. They gave out 190,000 separate instances of unauthorized payouts. Fake identities. They still got Obamacare. So they were getting these tax credits with fake IDs and dead people's social security numbers and more. What do you think, Senator?
Well, the GAO confirmed exactly what we were expecting.
There you have it. Between 2023 and 2024, Obama was illegally doing shit wrong. It was going on during Obama's time and Biden's time. Right there. But guess who stopped it all of it and caught it? Big bad Donald Trump. And all y'all out there who was voting for Democrats, all y'all little bitches, all y'all woke dumbass fuckers, all y'all bleeding heart little bitches out there, with MAGA Trump doing something that Joe Biden couldn't do, Bush couldn't do, Obama couldn't do. Those three motherfuckers could have done some shit for the country, but they didn't do it. He's doing more than those three motherfuckers did in their 8 years in office altogether. Bush had 4 years, 8 years. Obama had 8 years. Biden had 8 years. That's 24 years those motherfuckers have done right there. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Let's hold on. 8 plus 8 is 16. Yeah, that's 24 years. Those three motherfuckers all together had 24 years in presidency. They could not get one fucking thing right. Not one fucking thing right in this country. But here Trump is, day one, he said what he's going to do. And he's doing what he said he's going to do on day one. He's cutting shit out. He's putting these people who are stealing from the country back in their places. Taking people that don't belong over here, comes over here without no fucking IDs, without no proper paperwork. He's sending their asses back. And Tim Walz, Omar, Harris, and all of them, Hillary Clinton too, all of them are going to get it. And here's another thing. Obama, Joe Biden, and Bush were sitting on Epstein files. Those three motherfuckers were sitting on files. Did not release nothing. Now, since they're asking Trump, bitching about Epstein files, now Trump's letting them out, and guess what's all coming out to be? Democrats. Bill Clinton. Donald Obama. Joe Biden. Hunter Biden. Yeah. That's just how it is. So enjoy.
Another example is that one social security number was used 125 different times. So as we expected, there's probably $35 billion of fraud. The reason that we were kind of tipped off is only about a third of the people on Obamacare actually filed a claim with their insurance company. So these were ghost patients. And by the way, most of these were not paying any type of a premium. They had a $0 premium thanks to the enhanced subsidies. So the bill that we dropped today is going to address these issues. It's going to require a real ID. It's going to require some type of biometrics. It's going to require those people to actually make a monthly type of payment so that they see something coming out of their real checking account.
Is it now an extinct species of any Democrat who cares about the public purse, who cares about taxpayer money going flying out the door? I mean, this is simple garden variety tax credit fraud. Tax credits, it's so easy to commit fraud via tax credits. It's basically money that goes right out the front door. I mean, Biden signed legislation supercharging Obamacare fraud, putting it on steroids. So does any Democrat exist in D.C. saying, yeah, this is bad, we got to stop it?
Well, Liz, I'm afraid you're right. So we've approached multiple Democrats to be co-sponsors to our bill. And what stopped them is that we were requiring $5 a month. We were requiring each one of these people to make a $5 payment per month to stop some of that fraud. We can't get one Democrat sponsor. So they say they want to fix Obamacare, but do they really? I think that's the question. What they really want is Medicare for all, which ends up being Medicaid for all. Again, that's their goal here.
Which means more fraud, which means fraud on steroids. I mean, this is really out of hand. We're going to be
Boy, don't let the Minnesota fraud circus pull your eyes away from the real bombshell. Obamacare is now tied to 47 plus billion in missing outright fraudulent money in just 1 year. That's the game. They shoved Tim Walz into the spotlight to distract you, while Obamacare laundering, quite frankly, bankrolls the DNC and the Uniparty, especially now that USA cash has been cut off. Here's the part they're panicking about. Obamacare subsidies expire on December 31st, and the Democrats are desperately dependent on the money stream. That's why they tried to strong-arm President Trump for another $400 billion in Obamacare subsidies. They even shut down the government over it. They had the nerve to blame Trump. Let's be real for a second. Liberals are never getting free universal health care from the Democrat elite. Ever. Why would they? If health care were actually free and clean, there'll be no way to steal taxpayer money through corrupt insurance middlemen. No lobbying doctors, no endless billing scams, no political slush funds. And here's the darkest truth nobody wants to say out loud. Corporation poisoning Americans for profit will have to stop, because the entire profit chain depends on keeping people sick. Cancer equals cash. Chronic illness equals control. That's why hospitals stay overloaded. That's why the racket never ends. It's not broken. It's working exactly as designed. Liberals need to wake up and realize this system isn't left versus right. It's the elite versus everyone else. This corruption is hurting all of us. And the only way to stop it is if people finally refuse to be distracted. Oh man, shout out to Elon Musk for buying X. That you can just come on here and say whatever you want to say, and a lot of it is truth, you know. That you can come on here and just call it out for what it is and not be censored and not be shut down. And God bless Elon Musk, man, for doing what he did. Yes, indeed, man. But Somali illegal. Abdul Nahir Ibrahim. I might pronounce his name wrong, but y'all know this bastard that took pictures and he was smiling with everybody, and I think he had something to do with all of them, you know, especially Miss Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz. But